So it's going to be very interesting because I'm noticing volumes and stuff, and it's going to be I feel more engaged in the world, hearing a little bit more. Well,
Yeah.
quite a bit. It's moderate. No, anyway, I can't remember. Anyway, and I got a new phone because I've been fiddling around with a phone that I broke, and you know how you put it off and you put it off. And I got it. Great phone with an excellent camera and a zoom. And on September 2nd, I'm going to try out my new phone. Bring the
Okay.
hearing aids so I can hear animals.
That's
That's
amazing.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. Okay, well, Brent is here. Um,
He is.
so I think we're good to go.
We are. Oh, I think. Okay. And who's leading off tonight?
That would be me.
I thought so. So fire
Okay.
away, my dear.
All right, sounds good. Christine, thank you for hopping on and joining us tonight. We welcome you. Have a few announcements. Blair has something we call insider notes, and you get all the historical and ongoing notes for the Blair Dunkley experience that goes deeper than what we do here. So we cover a lot of topics that we don't really have the chance to dive deeply into. And thank you for putting that link in. The link is in the chat. $25 a month or $300 a year, and you get everything going back to episode 318. And we are on episode 359 tonight. So that's a lot of access to information. The Mind Model Mastery Secrets podcast is up and going, I understand.
Yes.
2 episodes a week, Mondays and Thursdays. And there's a link for that. That's on, because my notes don't have the address for
And
that.
it's
That's
up,
the
and thank you.
youtube.com/@Mind Model Mastery Secrets. So
Yeah.
youtube.com/@Mind Model Mastery Secrets.
It's
And
in the
then,
chat if you just want to open your chat and copy and paste. But it
yes,
will not be on after the show's over. So
okay.
totally in for the
So
chat.
then Blair is also offering on LinkedIn a complimentary profiling session for people who are new. And that link is also in the chat. So lots of opportunities to connect with the community, to learn more, do more, all of it. Let's see. So my name is Patty, and welcome to the 359th episode of the Blair Dunkley Experience, where we discuss mind models. Mind models are a collection of extensively tested thought frameworks, skills, and behaviors that enable people to transform their lives intentionally. Your host for this evening is Blair Dunkley, the creator of Mind Models. My name is Patty, and I am a certified Mind Model Method coach and your co-host tonight, along with certified Mind Model Method coaches Tim and Becky Graff. The BDE, which is a shorthand for Blair Dunkley Experience tonight, is Blair's free gift to you. It's an opportunity to learn, experience, and practice mind models in a safe real-world environment. Personally, mind models helped me overcome more than a decade of depression. They have positively impacted every area of my life, including my relationship with myself. So we look forward to learning with you tonight and welcome you to the BDE. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Becky to take care of our leftovers.
All right. So yesterday was the first part of an ANPU, which stands for awareness, notice, process, understand. And just want to check in with you guys since last week. What did you guys become aware of or notice as it relates to what we covered about awareness, notice?
By yesterday, she means last Tuesday.
Yes, yesterday, last Tuesday.
The week goes by quick. It feels like yesterday.
Thank you, dear. He's keeping me on track tonight. That's what makes it wonderful to work with your spouse. Anywho, so from last week, not yesterday, last week, anything come up for anyone as it relates to what you noodled on as you became aware, started noticing different things in your world? Brent, you're looking like you want to say something.
I don't know if I really wanted to say something, but I was thinking of something, but I wasn't sure if it fit. So I don't know if it would. I mean,
Fire away. See what
so
happens.
fire away.
Well,
Okay.
now you've said something, so.
So yeah,
Yeah. Let's see. So my cousin had a wedding this past weekend, so I went there, and I haven't had much interaction with socializing or dating. So my awareness on my like interactions on like subtle cues or things like that with women, like this, I miss them, and I happen to go back and analyze like, okay, 'cause I skipped over this girl. She was the maid of honor, but she was interested in me, and I didn't at the time. I was just in my own world. I wasn't really paying attention, and I noticed a couple times, but I really wasn't. I was aware that she was there, and she would look at me a couple times, but I didn't really dig into, put any more, in, effort into it or look, that. So I was like, I'm like, dang it, so now I awareness of that, but now I put something together like to get out there and just interact and converse so I can still, so it's like skills or things you lose without the interactions of other people. So I noticed I was like, well, you got to pick up on the little cues of people that are interested in you and I'm seeing them. I'm like, I missed it. I missed an opportunity. I can tell you that. I missed an opportunity. So, yeah.
So she is in the bridal party.
Yes.
So at least one of the two people in the bridal party,
Yes. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and therefore you didn't miss the opportunity completely because there could be a way to get in touch with and say hi
Yes. Yes. Yes, there is. Yeah.
and say, I was thick.
I also think a part of it when I noticed is also she doesn't live close. Like she lives in another state quite a
So,
distance away. So I think maybe subconsciously I just kind of pushed that away as like, okay, it's not even, she's not close by. So after today would have been very difficult. And I was like, well, I think maybe I wrote that off, subconsciously. So
okay, maybe.
that was afterwards, after I was, thinking of things. I was like, oh, maybe, but
Yep. You know what?
it's part of it.
I'll tell you what I told my daughters when they were dating and back in the beginning. And I tell myself, it's all practice until it isn't.
Exactly.
And
Mhm.
so who said exactly?
Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Oh,
I,
right,
I was gonna say something to him. It's just like practice makes perfect. Maybe even if you're in a disguise, why there?
right.
Why I didn't do this and that. Uh, it's good to get out of practice, take a little risk
Ex-
some
Mhm.
honesty.
And Jane was saying, what I was going to say is, what might you do differently? And, I love that line, that question. So just consider it as a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah.
Is
It was
that,
a comfort zone as well too, sometimes. So a little comfort zone. So that was there too. Like
I know,
getting uncomfortable. So that piece there. So it was, I was like, wow, stayed in a little comfort zone there.
might
so
be
Yeah.
time to get uncomfortable.
isn't it
Yeah.
say
That's what I was thinking. I go, get uncomfortable and see new things. So yeah. It's-
so
What's
it
that?
sounds you had a whole lot of awareness noticing happening through this
Yeah.
dialogue and your experience. Would that be accurate?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And we're kind of at that. Jane's question, I think, is a beautiful segue into what we're going to be talking about tonight, unless anybody has anything else around awareness notice with
I was just going to throw in there for Christine, if maybe we could give just a summary of Ananpu and what we're talking about. Um, Tim, when you start to introduce the next piece, maybe cover a little
Yeah,
bit of catch up for Christine.
Sure. In fact, I'll jump into that right now. Just for those out there on YouTube that may be tuning in for the first time and didn't catch last Tuesday, or Christine, it's great to have you here. We are talking about a mind model that we lovingly and short we call it an ANPU. A-N, let's see,
You.
you. Yeah, I can spell. And what that stands for is awareness, notice, awareness, notice, because there's two levels to the awareness notice piece, which we went over last week. The first awareness notice is it's a subconscious. We're aware of something, but it's not really the intentionality is not there until you get into that second level of awareness notice. And then we move into what we're going to be talking about this week, which is actually moving from an awareness and a notice into a process moving forward that then moves you into understanding of whatever the process and what you're going through, whatever the situation, that kind of thing is. So that's what we're talking about this week is we're moving into process and understanding. There's quite a bit that goes into, yeah, go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I don't just maybe it was different, but I know last week we talked about digging a little more into like the second part of the awareness notice. I don't know if is that part of this moving into process. Is that I know that was last week we talked about getting more into that. I don't know if that was
I
different.
think I think that will shake out as we go through this
Okay.
because although we delineate between the first awareness notice as kind of like that subconscious or non-conscious bit into the awareness notice, like Brent, you shared with us beautifully, like, man, I was picking up on cues and kind of like, right? That
Yeah.
different piece, it does flow very fluidly into the process and understanding in how we go through it. So I think as we go through this, I believe that you were interested in like digging into like, okay, what do I need to do to get that process bit? Or did you have a specific question as it related to the second awareness notice
Well,
piece?
not a specific question, but I just wasn't sure. I know that was something that was asked, I believe, at the end, but I wasn't sure if we touched, if there was a little bit more information that we didn't get to, and if that's what, kind of
Well,
we get into today, and it flows into a process and how that
partially.
goes.
So
Okay.
one of the key elements here is the first like AN, the awareness notice is moving from to get to an awareness. You have to move from being completely unaware to becoming somewhat aware. So it's like moving from 0 to 1. Okay, where you don't know, and then understanding that you don't know. And that's sort of like when did you start realizing that the bridesmaid was making moves on you, or not moves necessarily, but giving you signals? I think you used the word.
Yeah, it was at the end of the night, like when everything was wrapping up and we were leaving. So I was like, son of a gun, I was just thinking about stuff out there. I was like, dang it, I know I recognize it now, but during the time, I know it wasn't something I totally picked up on.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Now, just do you mind if I pick on you just a tad?
yeah,
Okay. So, was she there at the end of the night, or had she already gone?
I I don't know where she was at. Like that was,
Oh,
there
when
was
you
a shuttle
realized you
leaving
didn't
to
know.
we were going separate places we were staying at. So it was like, so at the end, and I don't know
Oh, okay.
Oh,
where they
did
were
you
at.
So,
know
So,
they were separate places? Oh, you can hear me. Shoot.
yeah.
I'm just joking. Well, you've obviously asked the question somewhere or somebody's filled you in. They
Yeah.
may have
Well, I didn't know
noticed.
till the next morning, like you
Okay,
were
got
saying. So
ya.
I didn't know that. So yeah, yeah.
okay, good. So that is that now you're talking about the second level of awareness, and what you were noticing was your lack of action with what you
Mhm.
were aware of. And I could also put it as lack of process.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're heading to tonight. So you got to awareness notice where you
Mhm.
didn't realize that there was anything happening, and then you notice that something might be happening, and then you reflected on it and either got filled in by somebody else or you stumbled across some part of your memory that says, "Oh, right, she was flirting with me," sort of.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah,
were a
that's
little,
pretty much what happened.
yeah, you were a little thick
Yeah.
on that one. And you
Yeah.
go, you drop the ball. Okay,
Mhm.
so next. Now it's a great opportunity for you to reflect on that because now you're more aware. Okay, which
Okay.
is the second level of awareness. And you're noticing your lack of progress or process. And now we need to build process.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we can rip apart Brent's love life here and build a process around it. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
So I'm going to start by posing the question, though. First of all, what is a process? Leslie, what is a process?
Brent, what's the problem? No, just kidding.
I'll let Brent think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you. Process. It's a mind model to move forward, to be curious about your predicament and move forward to a better position.
Okay.
A series of key words that you could use in a situation to help you get refocused.
Okay. Jane?
The trick is remembering them.
Well, no, what I was thinking, isn't it that first step of curiosity? What might I do? And then go into evaluation. Well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and then go, which one is what? I mean, it might be that you don't want to do. You don't want to take the next step on moving it in one direction. You might want to take a different step. So your process is first asking yourself, what might I do? And then going, evaluate what are my options and get resourceful and think about what am I going to do? And then, of course, decide and then test it out and see if that works. And if it's not getting you the results you were looking for, go back and start again. What might I do? And, evaluate it until you get an understanding of where you want, what your process, what the situation is, what are your options, what are my choices, and which ones are effective in each choice.
Mhm.
Does that sound right? That's what my brain says and what process is. It's it's where, yeah.
Identifying tasks that may be in flow.
Huh?
How about identifying tasks that may create a flow?
Well, and I love what Jacqueline put in the comments as well. Moving self to the frontal lobe.
Lobe, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you
Instead
have a
of
comment?
judging yourself, oh, I could have done this. Wow, that was really, really a bonehead move versus saying, what might I do? Or what might I do next time? Or what are my options from this point on? So that getting out of that judging state and getting into from this moment forward, what might I do?
Exactly.
Moving into that curiosity piece that begins the process. Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you have a comment, Shannon? You popped on there for real quick. I didn't know if you had a comment, something to add.
No, I'm just still listening, and I'm gonna try and leave the camera on more tonight like I did last week. So yes, I'm just arriving.
Thank you. It's
Yeah,
always
great to see you.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody.
Love that process, by the way. That's great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention we haven't here, yeah, and Becky just popped it in the chat. So a process, very much to what you said, Leslie, and what Jane was getting at as well, is it's moving forward. It's a systematic series of actions directed to some end, or as we've talked about before, like with Iber and some of the other mind models, to our desired result. And then it's a continuous action or a series of changes taking place in a definite manner. So that's the definition that it pulls from, our lovely books about process. Jackie, did you have a comment on that?
It's really picky. It's really picky.
Okay.
We're trying to move into a process here. So when you're saying moving forward is sometimes I relate forward to being a better place, as Leslie said. That's how come I said effective, Leslie. That's what I was meaning in the thing when I said effective, because I noticed when you were saying I moved to a better place, and I thought, ooh, that might be a tad bit of judgment there, because we're trying to utilize effective and ineffective. You know how that kind of really separates the judgment out. So when you're saying moving forward, knowing how effective, sorry, Tim, you are with the pivot point, is moving forward necessarily a good thing? Like, what are we moving forward to? And I know that's very picky, but I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, I was just curious, what makes a process effective, Jackie?
Oh shit, I want to answer moving forward. That's like my default. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, let's see if I can answer that in another way, or if anybody else can answer that in another way. So what makes a process effective?
Yeah.
Is that what your question was?
Yes.
Okay. I would say, for me personally, movement, whether that be physical or emotional. How I recognize I need to get in a process, and I'll just borrow a little bit of Brent's example about safety versus comfort. If I'm in safety, if I'm in comfort, I need to move to safety. So that's how I enter the process. I know I'm getting a little distracted here. I'm just trying to, it's kind of deep. Help?
Blair had his hand up. Blair?
Okay, I go, for me, an effective process is something that's testable.
It's failing fast forward, but I wanted to say that earlier, but I was just like, I can't do it again.
But that's your favorite one,
I
Jackie.
favor that one. I favor it. I favor it. I can't keep putting that in there.
Yeah, you can,
My
because it
fault
worked.
too.
It was effective. It is effective. And it's testable.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's the thing here, is that if we don't test, we can't determine whether or not the movement we're going forward to is effective or ineffective.
Okay.
And therefore, I drop the forward or backwards or whatever until I evaluate it. But if I don't test it, I can't evaluate it.
Yeah, so it gets right back to effective, ineffective.
And no, it gets right back to testing first, then
testing and then evaluating.
Correct. Test, evaluate, test, evaluate. Try it out.
I was just picking on a word. Sometimes I like to pick on words because I think definition is very important.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. I'm going to watch when I classify something as forward. Am I doing that from a safety judgment? Feeling based?
Sometimes.
I mean, that's going to influence it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I may have actually made a step forward, but I may emotionally feel that it was not a good idea.
Well, I'll use my own non-dating date thing. Okay. 2 weeks ago, when I was still heavily using my cane because of my hip surgery, I did get out and go shopping for groceries. And I think there we go. I just muted Reza, I believe. Anyway, the point being is that there was a very attractive, age-appropriate lady behind me in the checkout line. And I don't know what she did with her corn on the cob, but it rolled forward into my groceries, which required me to turn around, hand her her cob back. And I looked at her, and she was, I said, this might be yours. And, and we had a very brief, but yeah, I didn't notice whether or not that was an intentional flirt or an accidental roll of her cob forward. And I thought, I did not follow up on that. And she was a very attractive lady that was very age appropriate for me. So I missed an opportunity. And I thought about it as I was driving away, that what if she did that roll of the cob intentionally?
Did she have a ring on?
I didn't check. And it didn't look but she did say, because we were talking about corn on the cob, and she did say she had to buy her own corn on the cob because nobody else liked it. And so that, I don't know if there's other people there or she's eating alone. I didn't know. It was unclear. So anyway, I didn't clarify, and I should have. So you're right. You're not the only one, Brent, that's missing possibilities.
How might you turn that into a opportunity?
Well, okay. Then building on that and turning it into a process, which I have already done. And so in my 6 years of being single, this has happened twice, which is more than sufficient for me. This is the second time. So the third time will be the charm, because I will be alert and prepared with questions. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so you're going to be alert and prepared with questions, but is there going to be like a little key, like an inkling? I've been here, done this before, or
Yeah, I've dropped the ball because I didn't check something out with somebody I immediately found as attractive.
so an action is going to trigger you to go into a process to respond to an action to check it out.
To take it to the next step.
Right.
Okay. So this is the second time in a grocery store that I have dropped the ball with somebody who actually potentially initiated something with me. And, I passed the corn back and she engaged with that. And not just with thank you, with more than a thank you. And that's the thing that I dropped the ball on. I thought, I should have engaged with more of a question. And that was important. And Christine, you're smiling your face off at me. So, all right, let's put it this way. I'm becoming very self-conscious. Those are beautiful teeth, by the way. So.
I had to put my video back on because my face was glowing listening to your story.
You look very attractive, so therefore, yes, blow away.
Okay, thank you.
No, that's fine. You don't have to turn off your mic either. Just keep it on.
Well, there's too much noise around me. There's many children, and that was my daughter in the background piping up about there not being noise.
Okay. Thank you. Anyway, it's amazing.
The red on your screen is quite bright. Did you adjust it by chance?
What?
Blushing.
She's teasing you that you're blushing, Blair.
Oh, okay, yes.
So go ahead. Go ahead, hon.
I was going to let you.
Well, what I was going to say is, so what I'm hearing is that we've had an awareness notice. Both Brent and Blair have gone through that first and second awareness notice. And so now we're aware and we've noticed. And so it's moving into that process piece. So next time we have a process.
We have preparation for a process.
Yes. Correct.
And there's curiosity about, okay, knowing what we now know, right? Well, that we're aware of, what might we do, which is that first curiosity engagement to be able to then create a process. Blair was sharing with us, I'm going to be prepared next time. next time that corn rolls into my cart and I see these cues and I notice this kinds of thing, I'm going to be prepared with questions. Okay, so he's already
And the
started.
statement, I have found in dating that women who I find attractive tend to respond very favorably to a pleasant, appropriate compliment and just say, here's your corn. And then as I looked at her face, I went internally, you're very attractive. And I just should have said that as just simply straightforward and gone, you seem to be very attractive. Thank you for, I hope all is well. And I would love to take you out for drinks or something if you're available. Just do something to engage. It has to be quick.
Might I give you some feedback?
Yeah, please fire away.
Very
I need
direct.
all the help I can get. I'm drowning.
But I actually wanted to ask you a question, but you answered it because I was curious how you were feeling during the conversation. Did you kind of like buff yourself up or become conscious of your hair? You know
No,
what I mean?
none of that.
Okay,
That's
so
what women
no
do.
other things. It was afterwards and I've been in evaluation that you noticed. You didn't notice at
No,
all.
what I did notice is that I was incredibly self-conscious because I had a cane.
Ah, so interesting. I wonder if that self-consciousness feeling somehow interrupted your self-confidence.
Absolutely it did.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know it did. So,
Yeah.
but that is inappropriate and ineffective for me in the future. It goes, what's the point of feeling that way when I know it's temporary?
Yeah. Well, if you have your cane the next time, I suggest I'll soon be dancing without this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you
that
could
could be
pull that
part of
off, Jackie, not me.
So let's bring it back to
Please.
the fundamental pieces of creating a process. So we've talked about what is it? So movement. We could agree that it's movement, whether the word forward works for you or whether it doesn't.
Yep.
A process is a series of things that moves you in a direction. And so when Tim asked the question, what makes a process effective? We talked about some parts of it, but what other things might make a process effective? Because there can be very ineffective processes that we're running. So what else might make a process effective? What mind models might help us make a process effective?
Mm-hmm.
Shane? Yes, sir. Shane.
What mind models might, well, I mean, you're already talking about the three E's with effective versus ineffective, awareness, notice. I'm kind of drawing a blank on. I mean, obviously, my favorite, the power of choice, the choice to make, in this situation, talking about Blair making the choice to engage or not engage. I'm up for a hint.
Is it fair to say that mind models are a process if used?
Welcome to the Explain.
Yeah, that'd be fair to say.
Okay, because there are many process structures, there are many frameworks to get us behaviorally into a forward movement. And I know Blair talks about this often, but there's three things that mind models are that make them process driven so effective. Do you remember what those are? By chance, Shane?
I'm rusty. I'm not gonna lie, I'm rusty. I mean, I want to say he's in the present. He's not looking in the, well, he's right now he's looking in the past, but at that one time he was in the present.
Okay, Brent just gave you a hint in the comments.
Identify.
There's two more.
No.
Phone a friend, maybe Brent.
Yeah, Brent, go ahead and finish that.
Oh, there's Shannon. Repeat.
Oh, Shannon's got two.
Yeah.
I love
Identifiable,
this.
repeatable,
Thanks
and
for
duplicatable.
thanks for bailing me out, guys. I appreciate it.
So Blair talks about how mind models are identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable. So one of the great things about, when we move into a process and how do we know that that process is effective is we can identify what we're doing. We're able to repeat it if it's moving us. I would say if it's moving us in the direction we want to go, and we could duplicate it as well. We can do it again and again and again. When you talk about what makes a process effective or ineffective, I think that comes down to that evaluation piece, as you mentioned, Shane, with the 3 E's. It's, is it moving me in my desired direction? Is it moving towards that result, that desired result that I want? I think that is ultimately what comes down to whether it's effective or ineffective. The great thing about, even if it's not, we test it and it may not be moving us toward our desired result. I personally still see it as an effective test because now I know what doesn't work. And so I can shift and move towards my desired result from there. Blair has said the quote before many times that we're always in process. It's just a question of, is that process working for us? Is it effective and moving us in the direction that we want to go? Or is it a process that we're either unaware of and we're just kind of going through the motions without, any end in mind? Or is it an ineffective process moving us away from our desired result? And that is, I think, where this mind model of an ANPU, of awareness, notice process understanding, this gets into the understanding part, is so powerful, is because this helps us move in the direction that we want to go.
Yeah, and Tim said before, like, we're always in a mind model. It's just a question of, are we aware? Are we noticing and are we aware
Yes.
of where we are so that we can create those effective behaviors, do the effective behaviors towards direction to understanding? Yes, Jacqueline.
I would like to sing my praise to both of you. I have noticed since I said that word about fall when we had a little discussion, you have both chosen your words differently. And that's great because it shows me how adaptable you are in the moment and willing to try out something a little bit different. So that was really cool. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Awesome. So when we think about processes, so we've kind of identified what they do. Okay, so movement. What does a process then give you besides movement? What do you think,
I'm going to yell out framework.
Framework. Okay. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Okay.
What
I
about
was going to go with experience, like the actions of doing. So you're building up some experience and know how you're learning. So you're learning something, you're building up some knowledge and experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Come back to you, Leslie. Okay. Direction.
Okay.
Spike your curiosity.
How so, Shane?
Well, if you in that case with Blair, he's curious. He's thinking in his mind. He's getting curious of what would have happened if if that was a signal and I missed it, or if I would have engaged more. So I'm curious to know how that would have went, playing that off in his mind.
Would it be fair to say that that curiosity then might cause him to become more aware or more attentive to things?
No, for sure.
Okay. So processes
sure.
can actually help us update our awareness, okay, because we are able to dig in there a little bit more. And so with that data, the framework, the movement, those pieces that we're talking about, how does that then allow us to be more intentional, to get closer to what we would then want? How does this work with our gaps? I guess would be the question I'd like to ask. How does process work with our gaps?
if you're asking me, I mean, it really allows you to evaluate the situation and and find out what's true about the situation. You know, what in that is true, what is it not true. What might I Becky's famous quote, what might I do about that?
What might you do knowing what you now know?
Yeah. What might I
Yeah.
do?
Okay. So processes can give us data that when evaluated actually leads to understanding. Okay, so when you start engaging with those curiosity pieces, Jacqueline, you put real versus reality. Yeah, what is, right? Getting to the present. When we're working through a process and we're evaluating whether it's effective or ineffective, what other mind models might we want to engage with? Patty, what are your thoughts?
I'm trying to understand the question. Could you ask the question again?
So when we have data within our process and we're evaluating whether it's effective or ineffective, what other mind models might we want to consider?
I like updating to get yourself with your new data, your question, what might you do now with what you know? You know that you need to be able to take what you've noticed, what you've become aware of, and apply it to either yourself or other situation, or to some type of a fair and balanced evaluation. So whether you're evaluating yourself or another, a situation, taking a look at how does that new information apply in the moment? What does it do to the things that you notice and you're aware of? Can you update to the information that you've been given? And maybe you'll have new questions, new things to test, new directions to go, new possibilities. So that's what a process gives me. It gives me a place to go with whatever it is I'm doing.
Start from.
Sorry, did you have a comment, Jacqueline?
Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting on my mic. I was thinking a place to start from, because you're now bringing yourself into the present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Patty. Blair, did you have a comment? You leaned forward.
Yeah, no, I'm just pondering a bunch of different things. Sorry. Process is flow, and we need to create the ability to structure flow. And that process of beginning, a lot of people think that just creating a an action item list is sufficient, a to-do list, if you will. But that's, Jackie's comment, a place to start. And then I jumped in, well, what are false starts? How do people false start? And they false start by thinking that creating a to-do list is sufficient to get it done. And it's just a place to begin, not a place to end. Like it goes back to I'm trying to simplify it in my head, and I'm coming back to if you don't do it, it doesn't count. Like you got to do stuff. If you're not doing things, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change. So it requires action. So that is part of building a process. And then creating a process does it really matter if it works for you or not?
Oh, because you're failing fast falling forward.
Yeah,
Both.
well, exactly. No, it doesn't because you are failing fast falling forward. And if you have the mind model of failing fast falling forward, you also must then be evaluating and testing. And when you're testing, failing fast falling forward, and evaluating, you get to adjust the direction of where you are going.
safety versus comfort is very important for me when I'm feeling fast falling forward, because if I feel comfortable, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking the easy road, or what I perceive as being the easy way out or the quick way, not necessarily the effective way.
Unless you've done it numerous times, or I don't want to say that taking the easy way out always doesn't work. It's just sometimes it's got to be evaluated, because sometimes the simplest way is the most effective way. I
Claire?
mean, sorry, Patty.
That's okay. Question: when you evaluate, what ultimately does your evaluation get you? Where does it lead you? Where does the evaluation lead you? So you've got data, so you're doing stuff. Where is it ultimately going to lead you?
Yeah.
Making a decision, a choice.
Okay. You could be making choices or decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have an idea of where it leads you? So, you know, you've gained your data, you're testing things, you're doing things. What are you ultimately gaining from a process?
Clarity.
Clarity. Very good. What does clarity lead you to?
Let's say, what's another word for clarity? Or
Brent, you came up.
Understanding. I was going to go with understanding,
Yeah.
through that process, getting
Well
that process
done.
into testing, evaluating, leading to understanding.
Yeah. So what kinds of things might you understand?
You understand what worked through the process and what didn't work for you, where your gaps are at. If you have gaps through that action, you can through the testing and that see where there are gaps if you have those, and where you need to fill those in and improve. So there's that. And see, if you have more to go, or if there's, if you're going to, filling out your intention to, if there's the result you're getting to, if it has to alter a little bit, if it's not, not working out the way that it was intended, you can see that as it's going. So as you get the understanding. Jackie?
Yeah, Jackie.
Yeah, I'm kind of like posing this to everybody. I can't remember when, I know there's intention, and I know when we have a goal, but there is another word that goes along with a goal.
Result.
Like a result.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just needed to clarify that. Thank you.
No worries.
That's okay.
And the thing that I keep on coming back to is a concept called Occam's razor. And Occam's razor is a way of thinking that basically says, when you're testing ideas, the idea or whatever it is that you're working on, the one that takes the least amount of assumptions is usually the correct one. And
yeah, because your mind, you're not putting your baggage in there, maybe.
Partially, but if you put your baggage in, you're creating way more assumptions. But if you evaluate it as best you can and remove as many assumptions as you possibly can, what you're left with is something that usually comes out to be the truest, the simplest, because it's simplicity that we move towards. But that's not how we behave as people. We usually complicate the crap out of it. So just bear that in mind to keep things as simple as possible. That's the thing with the mind models themselves. They're usually a very short phrase or a couple of words. Usually compare and contrast jumps in. Clarity versus certainty. So you can use the contrast between clarity and certainty to give you a way of understanding and building the clarity. So just thought I'd share that, throw that in.
So what I'm hearing, Blair, is understanding is a very, this is what makes understanding a very important piece of the Ananpu process. Is I think a lot of people overcomplicate, or they don't. They sounds funny saying this out loud, but they aren't aware going through a process that they're already in a process and that they're already doing stuff. And so it's kind of that, it's the baby out with the bathwater and they think they're starting over, or it's an ineffective process. And so, it's baby out with the bathwater and start over. And what I'm hearing from what you're sharing is when we keep the evaluation part of it, when we keep the understanding portion of it to its simplest form, it's easier for us to hold on to that, to create that pattern and to keep moving forward with it instead of
if I might refine it, because like you got perfectly to that spot. If you keep it to its simplest thing, what it gives you is the cleanest next step.
Yes.
And that cleanest next step gives you the ability to then test and do what Jackie loves, which is fail fast, falling forward. Because if you're not failing, you're testing and you're actually finding things that work, but you're still attempting. And that's huge. Jackie.
I'm obviously into picking on things tonight.
Yep.
I'm curious because it seems like we're interchanging clarity versus understanding. And I want to have not a very clear line. I'd like to have a little bit of a gray line between clarity and understanding. Because I'm now thinking, does my clarity lead me to an action that brings understanding? Or is it a double-edged sword? It can work both ways.
Well, actually, it's going to be like a triple-edged sword.
Oh, well, I've never heard one of those before. Okay. That's like my grader.
Well, if you have, it's not a foil. It's not a saber. It's the other one. And I can't remember the name of that sword, which actually is 3 pointy edges. And anyway, the point being here is that the 3 edges of this are clarity leads to questioning. It can lead to understanding, but it can also lead to curiosity. Because you're clear about this step, knowing full well that you're not done and that you have to pursue it.
In a high risk taker, does clarity lead to taking action?
In certain conditions, the answer is yes, because you cannot confirm whether or not what you have actually got as clarity is workable and does lead you to where you hope it goes. Because if you don't test things, nothing happens.
Right. Yeah, so it kind of goes full circle into the thing. Anyway, I can hear that Tim and Becky are having things they need to say.
No, I was just gonna share on that same vein that there have been times for me where I've felt very clear about something, but I didn't truly understand the impact or the implications or the scope until I actually started behaving something. So I could be aware and start noticing and have that, like, okay, I'm aware of this and I'm noticing this behavior pattern in myself, let's say avoidance in social situations because of how I felt. I could be aware and notice that and be clear, like, okay, this is a block for something that I want. I need to build a process here, but I could just stay there and be clear that there's steps I need to take. But until I actually test something and evaluate it, there's not a process that I can evaluate for effectiveness or ineffectiveness, nor understanding of what that means to me or how that might work for me until that behavior is actually done.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, it goes back to if you don't do it, it doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know how many people have read the book by Jeff Olson, The Slight Edge.
Yep.
Okay, we can be aware of things, things that are easy to do and easy not to do. You can be aware and do something about it, or you can be aware and do nothing. the choice, the decision lies upon us. What kind of process do we want to have? How might we want to engage with that to get more effective results in our life?
And as Blair,
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, and as Blair mentioned earlier, it is process and flow. Process itself is in action. It is in flow. And if you think about it, I mean, we're always in forward flow, whether we're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
And so that's, this mind model really comes down to what direction you want to go with that, kind of back to that slight edge that Becky's talking about. We're either moving in the direction that we want to, or we're moving away from it, whether we're aware of it or not.
And as a result of moving towards or away, we gain understanding.
Yes.
And that's critical, because it really doesn't matter what the outcome of the direction is. We understand, and that's data. And understanding what works or doesn't work is highly effective.
Yeah. I remember talking to Blair early on, doing an evaluation of what worked about something sometimes really is what didn't work about it. Because now I have clarity and understanding that this specific thing doesn't work for me. Therefore, I can have more curiosity and figure out a new and different process to test, to then evaluate moving forward. And again, movement, right? Towards the thing that I want, things working for me.
Yep. And see, there is one commonality with few exceptions, and that is movement is required for both clarity and understanding. And that means process. When they say trust the process, it's because trusting the process is a flow. And if you stay in process, you will find out what you need to do. And you will find out what you need not to do. Jacqueline.
For me, I just want to highlight to anybody here that movement is actually taking a deep breath and giving yourself a moment. It's it's that simple, and I do not mean it's that simple. Just got to notice that you need to take a breath, or notice that you have to do something right here, right now, to get the perspective to make that one moment, and make that transformation. Sorry, that was tenant dropping off rent.
Okay, no worries. So Jinx.
No. You owe me a Dr. Pepper, Blair. Just kidding. So how does
sorry, are you heading towards wrap up?
That's where I was going to go. But if you would like to do that, that's totally fine.
Well, I would like to request two things have got me curious. One is, Christine, how did you figure out to come here? If you don't mind filling me in. Where did we meet? Because I recall elements of talking with you, but I can't put it together in my head.
I'm so deeply offended that you don't remember.
Yes, and I'm taking that risk.
No, I'm joking. We met at your appointment at MIC.
Sorry, there it goes. Yes, and it's all back now. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yes, you should be deeply offended. I would be if I were you. Thank you for showing up. It's hugely impressive. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
No worries. No worries. I almost grabbed it when I looked at the text messages and said that you didn't get in. Now, by the way, the link that I did share with you is permanent. So you can always get in here using that link. Okay, number one. Number two, now that curiosity is satisfied, I have another request. I created a Notebook LM. Well, I didn't create it. Notebook LM created a model using my mind model. It's called the Unstuck Method of how to create real change. It's 6 minutes and 15 seconds, and I'm wondering, it's a video podcast-ish thing. on based on my material that it generated. And I don't know if I should send you guys links to this, but I would love feedback. And I thought if I could impose upon you guys to see, I'm at a loss of where I should use it or how I should use it to get it out there, or if I should use it. So I was hoping to. I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous actually asking this of you guys. Are you guys okay with this?
You said something about a link. I would just say use it everywhere. Put it everywhere. Why not?
Well, what I was going to do was just share it and have you guys see what your thoughts are on this.
Do you want to?
Okay.
Okay.
Is this okay? Whoops. I don't know what happened.
Your recording just stopped. It looks like we're still live on YouTube, but your
Okay.
Zoom stopped.
Okay. Well, I was going to just share this. Is that okay? Anybody have objections?
No way, man. These are great things. Like, why would we object? Yeah, really, why would we object? Please, somebody explain to me why we would object.
Well, okay. So what I'm going to do here is just stop sharing for a second here to reshare so I can get sound here and do this effectively. Okay, here we go. And share this. There we go.
A really practical method for making real change happen in your life. We're going to move way beyond that vague advice like, oh, just change your mindset. We're talking about actual concrete tools to get you unstuck for good.
You know that feeling, right? It's like you're on a hamster wheel. Maybe you're putting off a big project, or you keep replaying that one mistake over and over in your head. Or you're just beating yourself up for not being where you think you should be. It feels like you're just spinning your wheels, and the more you think about it, the deeper the rut gets.
So why can't we just snap our fingers and change our mindset? Well, here's a wild number for you. According to the research behind this method, trying to just force a new mindset on yourself, it's only about 1% effective. Just 1%. That tells you everything, doesn't it? Simply trying to think differently is pretty much a losing battle. We need a completely different game plan.
So here's the roadmap for today. First, we'll look at why we get stuck in the first place. Then we'll talk about this huge shift from focusing inside to looking outside. After that, we'll get a new lens to see through called the 3 E's, a simple map for navigating your world, and finally, a powerful action loop called IBR that ties it all together.
All right, first things first, let's really understand the problem. The crazy thing is, the very strategies we use to try and get unstuck, overthinking, analyzing, judging ourselves, those are often the very bars of our own internal prison. So let's look at what's really keeping us trapped. These are the big culprits, these mental habits. Constantly asking why. Why did I do that? Just drags us back into the past and loads everything up with emotion. Slapping labels on things, that was good, this is bad, it's not helpful, it's just judgment in disguise. And then there's the big one. We don't just remember something that happened, we relive it, feeling all that stress and anxiety like it's happening right now.
Okay, so if getting lost inside our own heads is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's a beautifully simple but really powerful shift in where you put your focus. It's about moving from our internal world to the external world. Let me show you what that actually looks like.
This right here is the whole game. See, the internal world is all subjective stuff. Your thoughts, feelings, beliefs. Nobody else can see them or verify them. But the external world, that's objective. It's about your actions, your behaviors, and the results you get. You can't just decide to change a feeling, not really, but you absolutely can change an action. And that's where all real change starts.
So how do we actually learn to observe this external world effectively? We need a new lens, right? A new pair of glasses to see things clearly. That is where the 3 E's come in. These are 3 filters that help us switch from that subjective judgment to objective observation.
The first E is for effective. This is a huge one. Instead of getting caught up asking, was what I did good or bad, right or wrong, which just makes us defensive, we ask a much better question. Was it effective? Did my action get me closer to the result I wanted, yes or no? This simple switch turns every outcome into useful data, not a verdict on your self-worth. The second E is external, which we've already touched on. This is all about discipline. We focus only on what's observable. What did you actually say? What did you actually do? What was the specific, measurable result? Think of it this way. If you couldn't capture it on video, it doesn't count. We're sticking to the facts.
And the third E is evaluation, which is the complete opposite of judgment. I mean, look at this. Judgment is based on feelings and opinions, and its main goal is to figure out who's to blame. Evaluation, on the other hand, is based on data and evidence. It's driven by curiosity. It asks, what's working here? And its only goal is to learn and get better. Total game changer.
Okay, so now we have our new lens. We know how to look at the world. Now, we need a map. This next tool is super simple, and it helps you apply that lens to bring clarity to basically any situation you find yourself in. And here's the map, self-other situation. It's so simple. In any interaction, there are always these three distinct parts. There's you, self, there's the other person or people, other, and there's the context you're in, situation. We get stuck and confused when we smush these all together, like blaming someone else for how we feel. This map helps you pull them apart so you can evaluate each piece cleanly.
All right, we have our lens for seeing clearly, and we have our map for understanding the terrain. Now we need the engine. This is the final piece of the puzzle. A simple, repeatable cycle that turns all this observation into real-world action and, most importantly, momentum. This is the I-BUR loop. It's pronounced I-BUR, and it is so powerful. Here's how it works. You start with an intention, a clear, specific result you want. Then you choose a behavior, a specific, observable action you're going to take. After you do it, you evaluate the outcome using our 3 E's. Was it effective? What happened externally? And finally, you note the result. And here's the key. The result isn't success or failure. It's just data that feeds right back into your next intention. It's a continuous loop of doing and learning. And this really is the ultimate shift. When you start using a loop like iBear, you stop seeing things in terms of success and failure. It's all just experiments and data. You literally transform yourself from a passive self-judge who's always criticizing from the sidelines into an active self-scientist who's in the lab, running tests, learning, and adapting based on what actually happens.
Blair Dunkley, who developed this entire method, really nails the whole philosophy with this one quote. Effective language is non-judgmental and promotes learning and cooperation. It's all about building a way of talking to ourselves and others that's designed for learning, not for assigning blame. That is the absolute heart of getting unstuck.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. What would change for you? I mean, right now, today, if you just let go of the need to be right or to avoid being wrong, and instead you focused all of that energy on one simple question: what is the most effective thing I can do next?
Okay. That was it. Thoughts?
Well, I had earlier on in our conversation, I had wrote down the IBER on my notes over here to talk about during wrap up, so that fit in wonderfully.
Cool. You want to do wrap up and give me feedback?
We could put those together.
I'll love it.
Great.
I think that's an effective time. Patty?
Go for it, Shane.
Yeah.
For everybody.
What?
Is that effective for everybody?
Yeah, really.
I think we can make it that way. I want to start, though, with wrap up. Christine, I want to explain what we do here with wrap up for you. We ask you to share one takeaway from the evening and then to put a number of 1 to 10 on the value you received tonight. So this is not a judgment on how well Blair did or Tim or Becky or anybody. It's what did you get out of it and what was that value to you on a scale of 1 to 10. So we're going to do some other people. You can listen to what they do. And when I come to you, I'll ask your permission. If you don't want to do it, feel free to say no, thank you. It's absolutely fine. So, but that's what we're about to engage in right now. Let's see, Shane, we'll start with you. You had something on your mind to share with Blair about his video, and if you could give us your wrap up tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go with the 7 just because I'm a little rusty. I haven't been around for a couple of weeks, and Tim put me on the hot seat. My mind went blank, but it's okay, Tim. It's okay. Uh, but no, like I said, a 7. I wrote down when we are talking. Obviously, this is about an ANPU, you know, awareness, notice. And then I was trying to write notes and go back through some notes about what I do in the process of the understanding. I'm aware of a situation. What is my process? And you know, I even wrote down the I am: identify, apply, and master. Confidence, self-confidence, and I wrote down the IBER as well, the intention, behavior, evaluate, and result. So those are all really good things. Blair, your video, I think it's simple. It gets people's curiosity piqued, and so I would have confidence in putting that out there to the masses.
Okay.
Agreed.
Thank you
Shane,
guys
it's
for the
wonderful
night.
to have you back. Give our best to Christy. Tell her we missed her.
Yeah.
Will do.
Leslie, would you like to participate in wrap up?
Certainly. A strong 9.5 tonight. This evening brought a lot of things back into the present that have not been there. This whole process. I've lost touch with my process as of late, and this has just helped me to bring it back into focus. Ready to move on. I did like the video, Blair. That was very effective. How do I get a copy? It's I like these reminder things, these visual. I think I'm visual.
Yep.
And visual and auditory. And that it works for that worked for me. That was very good.
Good. I was thinking I might create a podcast or put this into we've got Mind Model Mastery Secrets podcast that Ashley and I are doing, and that's launched. I wanted to do a Mind Model Minute podcast, and just to give people an idea of what the mind models are. And I thought that might be a place for it, or just put it up on social media and, you know, give it as a long form or longer form video of doing that. And definitely plug it into the insider notes so people can
Yes,
get a link.
definitely put it in the insider notes. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I was just, I also wanted to remember, Tim and Becky, I don't know if you can put the link in the chat for Christine. Blair has a free gift for people who come their first time to the BDE, which talks about the 3 E's. And it's a little bit of a masterclass on that. And the 3 E's being effective versus ineffective, external versus internal, evaluation versus judgment, part of what he covered in that little video that he showed us. But this would go deeper and be more. So it's one of the foundational things that we do here on the BDE, and it incorporates a lot of the language that you would hear. So Tim and Becky put the link in the chat, and I just want you to have that. Jackie, would you like to participate in wrap up?
Okay, I think I'm all turned on here. Okay. I'm just gonna probably just do the video. I found the video a little bit dry to black and white. I would like to see a little bit more movement. Like sometimes when you actually participated online with us and you've moved things around, I think flow would be very interesting to see a little bit more graphic stuff, but not overly much, just a tiny titch. I think I would prefer to hear Blair's voice. And at the end of the day, who do you want to get people to know, you or the guy who's speaking? Just my question. I would also think about maybe breaking, I think if it was 5 steps into like, here are the 5 steps, you get 1 per day. Or if you're in a hurry, you can click on this link and do the 5 steps in X amount of time. Just anyway. I think quite possibly within, like you actually already mentioned, within the different parts that you're like breaking down into mind models, is having a link to one of the previous sessions, to a little chunk that kind of gives us the like, oh, and then it's like, oh my God, there's real people. And I'd like to maybe get people to that link. Do you want to understand more, or go further, or whatever? I don't see my writing, and click this link, you know, and taking you into that. And then you can even have a link within that saying that, would you like to know more about this subject? Click on the link for the whole show.
Interesting. Thank you for your thoughts. Those are definitely some productive things to noodle on.
I mean, it was all right. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I think you just want, like, I would like familiarity with the voice that I'm going to be interacting with over the time. You know, I want to like hear that voice. New hearing aids, everybody who didn't know. Yeah. I want to hear that voice. I want to be able to connect with it. I want to be able to, you know, like get into rapport with that voice.
Yeah, I had an author at a conference tell me that when he put out his first audiobook, and he had it at his booth for sale, people would come by and say, "Is this you on the book?" He's like, "No, but I wrote the material. It's my material."
Yeah, it's such a disconnect.
No, but is it you? I want to know, is it you? And he's like, "No, but I wrote the material." And he went back and forth on that, and ultimately came to the conclusion that it didn't matter if he wrote the material. People wanted to hear his voice. They wanted to feel like they knew him and had that connection.
Yeah,
to
and
him.
I visually want to associate a picture with the voice, not like a little freaking avatar. Sorry, but those things are just like,
yeah, that's great
real.
feedback.
We're talking about real, right here, right now. Give me something real.
Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Jane, would you like to participate and wrap up?
I am willing to. Yes, thank you. I enjoyed the evening very much. I'm going to give it a 9. I thought the video was wonderful and the voice was very pleasant. You know, some authors have reservations about using their own voice, but it reminded me of a course that I took that were little 5-minute things like this, where it was a course that took a month to do, and I had 2 different videos and then an article to read each day that was a progression towards you know, the end goal of what I was looking for with the course. And I think I paid $60 for it monthly until I finished the course, because people don't finish the course, you know, right there. I'm on it, you know, in 30 days. I was willing to do, you know, 3 days a week and not realize that the introductory offer that was $19.99, I didn't read the fine print. It went up to $60. And when I got my bill, I went, crap, I got to get this course done. But either way, it could be it could be a wonderful product for that can be done by doing these little lessons, such as you had visuals to clue into, and with all the talk right now and I look at it from, I get that part of this from my kids and stuff is, mental health is a big issue. COVID really did a number on a lot of people. And we're this is a tool that it could become a product that you could put on and literally do a Facebook ad, and people would click and say, "Oh, what's this?" And they would see a little clip and they say, "You know what? I think I want to know more." And then sign up to do a monthly subscription to be able to take these lessons, again, on their own time or whatever. I really like it.
Thank you so much for that idea. What about tonight? Scale 1 to 10.
Tonight, well, I enjoyed it very much. One of the thought I had was when you were speaking, Patty, when you mentioned self-other situation. My thing when we start on understanding is sometimes in our process and evaluation of our process is when we get to understanding is if we're in a self-other situation, it might not be our process. It might be the other person, and whether they're receptive to whatever our process is. So in light of both Brent and Blair's, awareness, notice after the fact, testing out new processes for when it comes again. That's where we also take into all the other things of what we have to pay attention to, our own self-confidence. Was it me or was it the other person? Was it, that's all part of that evaluation. So I thought, a little deeper, but went, yeah, self-other situation is definitely part of the understanding so that we can evaluate our process rather than judge ourselves. Oh crap, that really didn't work. So, and then I also got the Freudian slip on the cob and what it may have represented.
Oh, my dear, dangerous water.
So anyway, so there you go.
Okay, time out.
Love you, Blair, always.
Yeah, right.
No. So let's see. Christine, would you like to participate in wrap up tonight?
Sure, thank you. I also, I think, would give the night a 9. It was very interesting for me to show up here and hear you guys chatting about all of this. I took a ton of notes. I just kind of scribbled down a bunch of different things that were said, and I will probably have to sit back over these notes and get some clarity on them and think about them for a bit here. So it was very wonderful. Yes, so thank you for having me. I will not comment on the video. I think there's lots of really good suggestions. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Well, can I ask you one thing? Did you like the video?
I did like the video. I would be curious about like the intent of it. If you want it on social media, it's way too long. And I would agree that if you want it on social media, it needs to have more visuals. But if it's in a course, as like this is what we're going to focus on, it's a great intro. It's not too long, gives a good wrap up overview. So it's just for me, it's like where do you see yourself putting this out? Because it can be effective in some places, but maybe not in others.
Agreed. That's how come I haven't been able to figure that out myself. So thank you.
Yeah.
All of this is grist for the mill, as it were.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Christine. We do hope you'll be back with us sometime. Brent, would you like to participate in wrap up?
Yes. The video, I enjoyed it. I think it was a great, crisp overview of the flow there of getting stuck. So that was a great overview on that without digging too deep, and it went, pretty quick. I did hear the proven position question there in the beginning. I did notice that. I was like, wow, we're right. I'm like, oh, proven position. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. And then, flow. But yeah, I with other people's, point of views, but I did enjoy like the video it was effective for the process. It was a great overview of the process and very quick and concise. Tonight I, getting the process in, and thank you for, it's uncomfortable uncomfortable for me to put things out there of my personal stuff. So thank you. I appreciate that. And uh, be a safe space, even though it's
Do it
still
well,
uncomfortable.
friend. You're, oh,
You're
no, you do it
welcome.
well, honestly. Like, I mean, it doesn't seem like you're embarrassed at all, and at the way you process it and provide information, um, it's delightful. I think it's great.
No, thank
Anyway,
you.
oh no, I think it's effective. Like, pardon moi.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I was the processing. And Tim was talking about process, and it was like I was thinking with the failing fast, falling forward, a small process evaluating, and I'm like, oh, process. There's a small process and larger process within the process, and then there's more. So it can be like like as you're going along in these little processes, evaluating what's effective, what's not effective, and then you get to the end where you want. That's the bigger, larger process of all these things that happen in between. All the other processes, like processing content. It was the two sides. Everything's happening. That's content of this process, and that's process, and that's the content of this process. So
Do
it's just
that.
like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, it's simple, but that was like,
That's
boom,
like
all
going
right, I
down the
got it.
rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
A good rabbit hole.
Yes, a
yeah.
All
good
the
rabbit hole.
layers.
Yeah. And so the great Blair is great that are similar issues that came up. But the planning, not the process until you do it, but the preparation of the process, thinking of it like, this is what, next time this happens, this is what my action plan, what I'm, going to do to attempt. And this is what's going to happen the next time. So yeah. And gaining more clarity on that. So that was the whole process. And thanks. That was something I was thinking about. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it, thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, process. And I'm aware that I'm noticing this. It's just, you know, bringing that awareness to closer to the action, like when things are happening. So that way it can happen quicker, the processing and understanding. So yeah, I give tonight a 9 for me.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Shannon, would you like to participate in wrap up tonight?
Yes, ma'am. So welcome, Christine. It's great to meet you. I'm glad that you popped on tonight. Blair, like Christine, the first question that popped into my mind was, what is the purpose of the video? And so that some similar thoughts in that direction. And it felt very nutrient dense. And I think that to get more value, you could spread it out and like for your mind model minutes, make 5 little minutes out of that, and to get more value for how much deep, intense content was packed into that. So there's a lot of great things about it, and just kind of pivoting it based on what the use for it will be. And as a visual learner, extra visuals always help me, stay engaged and connected to it. But I thought that the flow of it was really solid. So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. Tonight was an 8 for me. I loved all the questions. There was a nice, I was going to say process flow of questions, but that's kind of redundant. But the way that things kind of unfolded, and one of the things that I was thinking about, Mom, there was a specific section of questions that you started that starts with, where does an evaluation lead you? And then you ended up asking, what kinds of things might you understand? And one of the things that popped into my head that I didn't hear anybody share is we can understand ourselves better, and we can understand our priorities, our motivations, our core values, that what drilling down into yourself looks like at this particular moment in time. Because even in different times and seasons of life, our priorities shift and change, and the things that we want to emphasize or focus on, ebb and flow. And so in terms of that, the self-other situation, we can understand self. So that was something that came into my mind while we were talking about that I didn't hear anybody chat about, that I wanted to throw out there. And lots of like great quotable moments too. I have so many little, Blair said this and Becky said this, and all the things. So thank you, everybody, and it's great to see everyone.
Thanks, Shannon. So, Tim, would you like to give us your wrap up?
Yeah, I'd love to. Tonight was a 9.25 for me. I enjoyed being able to kind of help lead the discussion, that kind of that falling fast, falling forward, and being able to lean into that process a little bit more. It's a little still uncomfortable for me, and so here's to getting uncomfortable and that failing fast, falling forward. So I knew you'd appreciate that, Jackie. The other thing, and I will share, so my big takeaway from tonight, much to kind of what Brent was saying, that you have an awareness, the notice to the process that leads to a bigger awareness, and the notice, kind of that process that keeps on going, the process leading to another process leading to another process. Jackie brought up a question tonight between clarity and understanding. And I love the clarity that Blair brought in answering that question with, I think about it, the process leading to another process through another process through the lens of curiosity leading to clarity, leading to understanding, leading to more curiosity, leading to more clarity, more understanding. And so, that's what's going on in my head right now is that I love that, just that light bulb moment for me, I guess is what that's what it was, is that it is the curiosity that then leads to the clarity, then lends to the understanding and that process moving forward. So that was a really different lens to look through it, and I thought that was pretty cool. With the video, Blair, I love the idea of the Mind Model Minute. I think the Mind Model Minute on social media, especially with, like as an ad with some money behind it, could be, highly effective. And that video might be a little long. I do like the idea of a mini, like, curiosity peaker that then could take them to something like that. Yeah, it just depends on how you're going to use the video, but that's my thoughts.
Thank you. Blair, would you like to give us a wrap up tonight?
Definitely. So I think that it's 8.75 for me tonight. Solid night. Very well done. My apologies, Christine. I just, whatever. The context was missing. So anyway, it was very wonderful to see you here, and very impressive that you showed up. Thank you. Thrilled, actually. So with that said, thank you for your feedback, everyone, on the video. I just tried something in Notebook LM, which is a large language model, and just let it do its thing. And that's what it spat out. And I go, holy crow, this is decent. And so I didn't have a purpose for it. I was just experimenting, and it made so much sense and put things together in a way that I've talked about it, but not this way. And it was so specific. And I thought, geez, this is interesting. Now I got to figure out what to do with things like this, because I can make them in minutes. And that sort of thing. I am going to explore the idea, because I have my voice cloned into AI, so I don't have to speak. AI can speak for me in my voice, and actually, I have my own body cloned, so it can take a digital version of me. And this is actually me right now, just to be clear. But I have a digital version of me as well that I use for generating some of the ad copy. So, because I can't be doing everything all the time, it would be making ads 24/7 and not doing any work. So, something's got to give. Anyway, it's just one of those things. So I think that was a good idea to see what I can do there. And Patty, yeah, your thing of people wanting to hear the author's voice. Speaking of which, I think this week I should be getting Phobia Freedom Formula up and going as a book on Amazon, as well as Ultimate Mind Hacking, the book. It's up on Amazon. So
Is that version 2 that's up on
no,
Amazon?
that's coming up on as well simultaneously
Okay.
with the other one. So version 2 of Ultimate Mind Hacking. Ultimate Mind Hacking is already up. So it has been there for a few years. So version 2.0. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. So for me, a good 8.5 tonight. Really enjoy hearing everybody's perspectives, and everything that we discuss here gets rounded out by everybody's additions and participation. We so appreciate you joining us for that. That's really meaningful to all of us. I do want to tease you for next week, though. Blair's going to introduce a new mind model that we've not covered before, which is clarity versus confusion. So I want to
What?
Yeah.
Clarity versus what? Oh, guess my hearing aids are not working well enough.
Yes.
What?
Clarity
Sorry.
versus confusion. So we're going to do some new stuff next week. I just want you all to know. And Becky, if you would like to give us your wrap up and then take us out.
I would love to. 8.9 for me tonight. Awareness, notice, process, understand. I have found over the years of learning the mind models that mini gap between the second awareness, notice, and process is where curiosity really shines. And I really appreciated the conversation, Jacqueline, that you brought up as far as like, well, what is understanding and clarity? Like, how do those fit together? Because it is a fluid processy of like getting clarity and then the doing part of it, the behavior part of it for understanding to be able to evaluate. I think that's the most impactful piece of this for me is I can be aware of something. I can be super, super aware of something, and I can have clarity about what I might need to do or what I could do or should do. Okay. But until I actually drop into curiosity and get into action and test the process, that's been a really big piece for me when I find myself gapped out in that spinning awareness notice piece. And so I appreciate the conversation tonight. Christine, thank you so much for being on with us. Everybody for sharing. Brent, as always, thank you for being open and in this safe space and playing with us. And Blair, you as well. It is always a rich experience when we have real life things to talk about, like actually being able to see it in process, literally, versus just a conceptual idea, because there's feelings and emotions and all the different pieces. So thank you guys so much for playing with us tonight and allowing us to have that experience with you this evening. Again, for all of you out on YouTube, thanks for spending the last, I said YouTube. Got to talk clearly tonight, guys. YouTube, thanks for spending the last 90 minutes with us where we are discussing mind models. As was mentioned at the beginning, Blair does have an opportunity for you guys to get access to the Insider Notes, which is all historical and ongoing notes starting from episode 318. That is $25 a month, $300 a year. You can go to blairdunkly.com/BDE-insider notes to get that. And then also, as Blair has mentioned, there's a lot of new things that are coming up. His Mind Model Mastery Secrets podcast has 2 episodes on already. They're going to be dropped Mondays and Thursdays. You can get access to that again, deeper learning, more about the mind models, more context. At www.youtube.com/@Mind Model Mastery Secrets. It will be coming on Spotify and Apple as well. That's going to be coming. And for a limited time, Blair has an opportunity for you guys to get a profiling session. This is an opportunity for you to sit down with Blair, have a conversation, and have him help you identify areas of opportunity in your life so that you can get closer to what it is you're looking for from a success perspective. It is a rare opportunity, a very valuable opportunity. You can do that by going to his LinkedIn page, www.linkedin.com in Blair Dunkley 1, and then just send him a message saying I'd love to have a profile session. You can connect with him and have that opportunity. I remember the first time I met Blair and he did a mini profile session on me, and what came out of that started me down a path of curiosity, insatiable curiosity about what mind models could do for me in being able to help me become more effective in business and personal relationships. And I am forever grateful for that opportunity. So if you have it, which he's offering right now, definitely recommend that you do so. And we will catch you next week. You guys, please join us next week, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. We are here learning and experiencing with mind models. And as Patty mentioned, Blair's pulling out a new one. It's going to be a great opportunity for us all because clarity versus confusion is one that has not been taught yet. And it is a great pairing. So, and a very effective pairing. We're looking forward to seeing you guys there. And then, yes, Jacqueline, I can post that for you if you would like. I will give you the link to his LinkedIn, and then you can go ahead and shoot him a message. With that, you guys, appreciate you for spending your time with us, investing your time in learning mind models, investing in yourselves. Best investment, most effective investment you can make, and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.